to, but thank you.
All right, we will call the Agriculture Committee meeting to order at 7:07 p.m. I'd like to start by requesting that somebody take notes for the meeting. Got Jeopardy music going in the background. I mean, I guess technically it's recorded.
I'll just take a few notes.
Yeah, I can watch the recording later and fill in the blanks for you too, Jennifer.
I'll see if Sandy can do this based off my notes.
Okay, I'll take some too. So at some point, we do need to find a new secretary. It was really sad when Nancy moved to Tennessee, wherever they moved. Anyway, we will need to get a secretary on this committee at some point. So first order of business is the approval of the minutes from our May 10th, 2022 meeting. I feel like the theme of tonight's meeting should be getting the band back together. And I realize part of that's my fault because I couldn't come to a couple meetings. So the minutes are in the packet. If everyone, hey, Chris. Oh, and he's gone.
Hi there.
We're just starting the approval of the May 10th minutes. So if you haven't read them yet, if you want to take a minute to read them, and then when everyone's ready, I will entertain a motion. And actually, I will sidestep back one and let's introduce ourselves because Melanie, I think, well, I know you know Joe and I, but we'll let's introduce ourselves quickly because we have a guest with us tonight. So hi, Melanie, I'm Stacy Stearns, and it's really nice to see you again. And for everyone else who doesn't see Melanie or talk to her every day, you can say your farm name or where you work or whatever you would like to share.
I was hoping we got you on the committee.
We're working on it, Joe.
Yeah.
Give her time. I mean, give Stacy some time. It'll happen.
Cool. So to introduce myself, my name is Melanie. I have a very, very small flower farm here in Mansfield Center with my partner, Yuli. I work over at the Yukon Extension Center in Windham County as the educational program assistant. So I work with Joe and Stacy in my office. And then I also work for the Windham Community Food Network that operates out of Willimantic, which is a community table is the name of our food pantry that we have there.
Thank you. Melissa, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Melissa. I am a freelance riding instructor in the area, and I'm also the coach of the Yukon dressage team. So I do teach at Yukon. And pretty much I have some friends that I have horses at home, and I'm involved in doing hay every year and that sort of thing. So that's really my tie to the agricultural part.
Alex?
Hi, sorry, I do not have a camera today. I do apologize. But my name is Alex Etland. I am starting a farm in Mansfield, Connecticut. Slow and steady for sure. And that's Fernmill Farm. And
Is that that should be the name of the farm, I think. Slow and steady for sure.
that's the next one I get. I'll do that, you know. But prior to that, I was a software developer and a manufacturing admin. So just hoping to go full time on the farm in the next couple of months. So again, slow and steady.
Thank you, Alex. Chris?
Hi, I'm resident in town and interested in agriculture, supporter of agriculture. I'm a forest landowner, and that's my, I don't know, I'm sure there are a lot of other things might be said, but that'll do for the moment.
Ask him about his adventure park sometime.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think I remember meeting you at the last meeting.
Okay, good.
Joe, I feel odd, but I can't leave you out. So do you want to introduce yourself to Melanie?
Joe Emenheiser. I live in town too. I livestock background. I work for Yukon Extension as a livestock specialist and teach in the animal science department. and have just a few sheep at home too.
Jennifer, thank you, Joe. Jennifer, you want to introduce you? I mean, it sounded like at the beginning, you know Melanie too, though. So, but if you want to.
Yes, I'm Jennifer Kaufman. I'm Director of Planning and Development for the town. And I know Melanie just a little bit because she worked with my daughter at Clover Lee Farm, and then my other daughter's boyfriend, George, who also worked at Clover Lee Farm. So that's how I know Melanie. But I have been the staff liaison for the Agriculture Committee for many, many years. And I've just transitioned to a new role with the town. So I will not be staffing the Ag Committee once we get a new person to replace my former position. And that should be within the next, hopefully we'll get someone early next month, and they should be ready to go, staffed and ready to work with you all in the near future.
What's your new position, Jennifer?
I'm now Director of Planning and Development.
Okay,
So,
I think I remember having seen that now that you mentioned it.
yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you.
She knows we will still probably ask questions as the new person onboards too. And
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to work with them. And I talked to some of the farmers came in to drop off their leases, and they said, oh, who are you going to hire? And are they going to be nice? And I said, well, if I have anything to say, they'll be nice and sense of humor, and they'll like what they're going to do. So, yeah.
God damn it. Yes. Okay.
all right, so thank you all for introducing yourselves. Welcome, Melanie. And yes, we will get you the information on the Committee on Committees. And now we'll go back to the May 10th, 2022 minutes. So if you haven't read them, take a moment, skim through them, read them. And whenever everyone's ready, we can entertain a motion.
I seconded the motion to adjourn, so for continuity, I'll move to approve the minutes.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Is there any discussion, edits, or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye or raising a hand.
Aye.
All right, any opposed, nay? Motion passes.
Okay. Thank you.
The opportunity for public comment. Do we have any public comment today? Okay. Old business, communication and outreach initiatives. Still sent a couple things over to, what's that called? Mansfield Connections.
I saw.
Margaret Chady, who works, does communications for the town, is everyone on the town's email list? If you're not, sign up for the town's email list. There's always really good information in the town newsletter, which I believe it's coming out every other month. And we need to keep this on our agenda and work on it more. So one of the charges of our committee is educational outreach and agriculture advocacy in the town. And we wanted to do that through communication and outreach. So there'll be events coming up in the spring and then again in the fall, which I know the Celebrate Mansfield weekend is a rough time of the year for most of us to do a day-long event. But if anyone has thoughts and ideas on communication and outreach, you can bring them up now or bring them forward to our next meeting, or, I mean, you can just start working on them, kind of the way I've sent those articles off. And if anyone wants to write any of those for that or something for the neighbors paper or any of the others, just, I can send you the information on where to submit it and everything too. The next one is due the 25th of this month for Mansfield Connections. And Jennifer, if we wanted to put something specific in the town newsletter, can you remind us when the deadlines are for those?
Yeah, so we do them every other month. The next town newsletter is February, and the deadline would be not next week, but like early the week after. So it would be actually, you probably have till the 26th. Well, no, the 23rd, we'll say.
Do you know if Margaret has something in there on CSA month yet, or does she have anything from Taste of Mansfield?
Yes, she will be. So I'm not sure if she has anything for the town newsletter, but they are working on their own Taste of Mansfield initiatives. If someone wanted to write something, I mean, and I'm sure I have kind of taken a step back from Taste of Mansfield. So I am sure that they'll be looking at the CSA information, but I will mention that to them.
They have a meeting next Tuesday, and I was going to make better effort. We were literally filming in Long Island Sound during the last one, so I couldn't make it, but I was going to try and start attending those because Jeff strongly suggested our committee get back involved with that.
Good. I'll mention that to Margaret. And I can give a little update about Mansfield, a Taste of Mansfield, when we get to that part of the agenda, because I have a couple items.
Okay. So we'll keep thinking about it. Let's, maybe we don't meet every month, so think about it in the gap. And when we come back in the spring, we can talk about some other ideas if we want, but we can keep working through the agenda. No one has anything right now. 2023 work plan. Jennifer, did you want to kick that off or?
Well, I just wanted to, it's January 2023. It's the beginning of a new year. I didn't know if you had any initiatives that you wanted to think about, and then, maybe just keep that as an item on your agenda and work with my replacement to kind of discuss those items. But I just thought I would put it out there. I mean, you're already doing communication initiatives. I know you normally do a farmers forum. Just thinking about other things that you want to do and get accomplished this year.
Last year we did the farmer forum in March. I think it was
Mhm.
March, late February, early March. I think it was like March 8th from the minutes and stuff. And it was really well attended. So we might want to consider doing something like that again. It would be easy for us to get Buchanan. We had the town manager and the town mayor there, which was nice to have them come and visit with us.
Yep, it was great.
Anyone have thoughts on the farmer forum? We had right before the pandemic started, we hosted something similar. It wasn't quite a farmer forum, but we had Brian O'Hara from Tobacco Road Farm in Lebanon come, same location, and he gave one of his presentations on soil, and that was again really well attended. So we could do something like that. It is nice, especially we've got more, young people, newer farmers. It's nice to get everybody together. In the past, we've held them at E.O. Smith, which, we have Lori, so it would be even easier to hold it at EO Smith now, and we've had the FFA students give us a tour, and then we've had the meeting in one of their classrooms. So just different things to think about. Chris hosted the forestry walk last year, and that was April or May, Chris?
I don't recall.
That was right
Um,
on Earth Day.
Okay, that would be April then, yep.
And then Mountain
Just
Dairy hosted a Walktober
Trying to
in
get rid of-
October of all months.
How did that go, Stacy?
I was in Vermont with my horse, but I heard it went really well.
Okay.
Huh.
Good.
We did a Walkover forest tour. It was great. Really,
Really?
really well attended. Very, very pleased with it.
So I'm hearing from a work plan for community outreach initiatives. And that would include Farmers Forum, walks. Chris, would you be willing to continue to do your forest walk?
Yep, be happy to do that. Yep.
And how, did the Mountain Dairy event go so well that they would be, do you think they'll do it as an annual event, Stacy, or?
Oh, my mom loves that kind of stuff, I'm sure.
And then it's articles. And then it's reviewing of, any issues that may come up. We may at some point look at the ag regulations, because we are doing we're doing a full-scale overhaul of the zoning regs. Right now, we're just at the point where we're working with a consultant to just reorganize them, to simplify them, to make them a lot more user-friendly and understandable. And then we'll start ticking off like some of the subject area that we need to kind of look at. And then this committee will be involved with providing input to that.
In the past, we've talked about doing something in conjunction with the farmers market and either having a bring your own picnic or tabling. So that's something we could, I mean, they're going throughout the winter too. We had talked about doing something in the summer months and co-branding it with Taste of Mansfield. So that's an idea we could bring back when it's on the town green, or not the town green, but the lawn in front of the town hall is what we had talked about. So that's another option that as a committee, we need to give ourselves a little bit more planning time than we did when we discussed it in the past. But that could be a nice way to bring community members together and fulfill our educational outreach role for Mansfield, or well, agriculture in general. Not just Mansfield residents. And we have a huge non-resident, sort of resident population, thanks to UConn, that a lot of them are interested in learning and getting out and about, and especially when it's in front of the town hall, it's pretty easy to connect with students as well. Is any of these ideas resonating with anyone? Guess very quiet group.
I think those sound like great ideas, Stacy. I know I'm not technically on the committee, but yeah, those sound.
You're a farmer though, and the public is welcome at all of our meetings, so.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, you can feel free to say as much or as little as you want.
Okay.
Anyone have a strong desire to work on any of those?
Stacy, could you just review what you see as the different options?
So there's the communication out initiatives,
Okay.
which we've done the articles, we drafted social media posts in the past, and sent those to Margaret for her to intersperse on the town social media as she had time. Lori's students wrote quite a few, the Ag Ed high school students from EO Smith wrote quite a few shorter articles. Well, some of them were longer articles for the town newsletter. So we can put updates in that every other month. And then we have events. So the events would be things such as an April Forest Walk hosted by Chris Kiefner, a Walktober hosted by Chris Kiefner and or Mountain Dairy.
But I'm glad he's involved. It's time.
You're what?
I'm glad that he's involved finally. It's time.
Yes, it took a lot of arm twisting, but Chris Kiefner finally came around. You're right. And then we talked about the idea of doing something with the farmers market and kind of a community dinner type of thing where everybody brought their own dinner, A, because budget constraints, and B, food safety and COVID and whatever other health concerns we want to list. And then our farmer forum it's traditionally been something that we held in March, as long as I've been involved with the committee, but we can change that understanding the fact that winter is going to be our best bet. So we might want to go, November if we change it. And I just was going to say, and other farm events, educational type events for farmers, something along the lines of what we did with Brian O'Hara.
Mhm.
The other one is I had a really long talk with Kim Milikowski from Stafford Ag Commission. We were at the same calling hours and it was a long line. And so we chatted about the regional ag committees meetings and doing more stuff together. So that is also another option for our work plan. And Kim and I mean, we haven't chatted more since then, but getting the ag committees from the area together again, and maybe if we were going to do an educational event, co-sponsoring it with all of them. Obviously, our town has the new marketing initiative that it's working on. So we've got those stronger ties to those towns as well. So it would make sense for us to include them. But the Stafford Ag Commission is very active right now. They've got a good group and they've just got a ton of farmers in that town. So it makes perfect sense, but they're motivated to get things done. And since a lot of us were competing for audiences, it makes sense to collaborate.
Yeah, I went to that one last year and it was great. And you're absolutely right. They've got a very strong group, very forthright. I mean that in the best way. My first thought was maybe we should encourage like Coventry or a different town to do it. But I don't know, maybe we want to encourage them again or do it ourselves.
So Melissa Higgins is on the Coventry. Is she Coventry or Tolland? I want to say she's Coventry.
The
So we might
Tallinn
be-
one was good too, several years ago. That was a great one.
Yeah,
You and I think you and I both went to that, Stacy.
Yeah, and we've hosted them in the past because Mary Conklin's on the Wyndham. Actually, no, wait. Wyndham disbanded there, so I strike that from the record. But they still have farmers in Wyndham, so we could just invite them as individuals. But maybe if we talk to Coventry, Stafford, Willington's been active in the past, and Willington had that farm day they did where it was like the Willington Farm Trail or something.
Yeah.
So they're pretty active right now too. So there's a few options. We want to reach out to some of our peers and see if one of them wants to host again.
The answer, I guess, is yes, but I don't know how you do that.
Well, you can find out your contact and then just kind of start an email chain and then invite them. You could have at your next meeting, you could just post your agenda and then just kind of convene into like a kind of a workshop or a gathering.
Mhm.
I mean, once you get a new staff, your staff member will probably have as much time as I did previously to.
Oh, so it's
Excuse?
just Loaded. Okay, good.
So, I mean, the job isn't really changing. So, but at least you'll have some staff support that will be of help to you. So you can kind of put this on pause. I love doing this stuff. It's just that I just can't right now with this new position.
That's all good.
Yep. Okay.
I will reach back out to Kim and see if Stafford's gonna try anything, and I'll probably see Melissa Higgins at an event at the end of this month. Although that just got switched to virtual. I'll reach out to Melissa Higgins and see what her thoughts are on Coventry getting involved. Farmer Forum, if we're going to do that for the March date, we don't meet again before then. So what is everyone's thoughts, knowing we don't have a lot of staff support right now, just because Jennifer's trying to do 2 jobs right now, and then it's going to be onboarding a new person. We'd need to come up with a topic or potential topics, although we didn't really need topics when we met last year. It
No.
did really well on its own.
It is just nice. I found in the past doing these, it's nice to just get farmers together, introduce again what the Agriculture Committee does, what the Agriculture Committee has done, what it's planning to do, what it can do, ways to get involved with the Agriculture Committee, and then to hear what is happening, with the farmers that you're kind of representing. And also it's great to get some of the elected officials there so that they understand what the farm community is up to. And also, they're always recruiting folks to serve on boards and commissions. And we need to get, that's sort of what we always try to do, is get farmers to serve on other boards and commissions so that they're, they can be represented.
Yeah, I thought it was a great event, and I mean, I'm a little bit ignorant to some of the behind the scenes planning. I'm sure that there was more involved than I did personally, but it would seem that, we could do a pretty basic event again, that could just kind of go its own path organically and not require a lot of, legwork beyond just contacting farmers and making sure that the turnout is good.
Yeah, it just is involved, it involves a lot of kind of shaking trees or whatever that expression is, just to kind of get folks there. So it was I think I emailed, I sent a letter, and I called everyone. Then we had to order the food, reserve the venue, and then, just kind of MC the event. It's not hard. It takes a little bit of time, but it's nothing that challenging. It's just a matter of, coordinating. And you do have a small budget for food. So that, but usually it's sufficient to have, cookies and cider or chocolate milk or something like that. So, but the last one was a Taste of Mansfield event. And that was great because, folks talked about what Taste of Mansfield is doing.
What do you guys want to try again in March? We could go with the Farmer Forum and have it be a listening session. I mean, there's enough stuff going on in agriculture right now. I think if we get everyone together, there'll be, I think basically the library kicked us out last year, so.
Oh, because they had another event. Yeah, but that's an easy.
Oh, no, I love the venue. I'm just saying we have plenty to talk about. Like, once we get them there, I don't think we'll need to worry too much.
And that's an easy a venue to kind of coordinate with, just because it's really flexible. And so, yeah, I like that venue.
Jennifer, would we be able to get any staff help if we did that, like with booking the venue or anything like that?
Yeah, I just need someone to kind of be the point person, and then I could possibly, I have an intern that maybe, it's hard with interns. Sometimes they don't know the lay of the land and they're just learning that. But it would have to be just you working with an intern, and then Sandy Ferrand, who is the administrative assistant in my office, and she's great. But it's a matter of just, it's just like kind of bird dogging it, it's just one of those things. Like planning, what is it? It's like planning a large summer potluck or something, or not even a potluck. You got to order stuff. You got to get people there. You got to make sure it's fun, so.
So do we want to look at like Wednesday, March 8th? What does everybody think?
I mean, I think it was great. I mean, even for me, just getting like kind of an understanding of Mansfield, it was nice. And I think it really took its own form of people to start talking. It wasn't like a whole lot of guidance needed to be there, but it was a good venue to share that information quickly. So, I mean, March 8th, I mean, is no problem for me. March at any time, is fine. But yeah, I think it'd be worthwhile.
Else?
So if someone's interested in coordinating it, why don't you just reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with Kylie and Sandy. How about that?
I work in the evenings on Wednesdays and Fridays. Actually, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So if March 8th wouldn't work for me in terms of being any help for it. But it kind of sounds like I think that's the reason I didn't go to the last one either this past spring, is that I was working. So
It's we had it at lunchtime on the 8th, which was nice.
okay. You had it during the day.
But it can be
Was
any.
it? I remember one in the evening.
No, we're
Yeah, there
talking-
was one in the evening that I
I
missed.
think
I
we're all
went to the
talking about
one.
the evening one.
Because I had
I
to
went
run
to
to
one-
another meeting and I hated to do it, but I rolled into the library and it was almost dark by the time I left, if I remember right.
Yeah,
If
I
I-
had another meeting that night too. With the West Coast, so I had to roll out of there too.
Maybe I'm getting confused with the Taste of Mansfield thing we
I
did.
think you're thinking of the Taste of Mansfield lunch we had at Diane Dorford's, because Ryan Aylesworth, we had a lot of people there too. So
Yeah,
I think you're thinking maybe about the lunch, and then the next one was at Buchanan. I missed that one, but
okay, yeah.
those have been happening too. Our farmer forum, we just set up the tables in a horseshoe. And there was cookies and cider and chocolate milk and
That's what I
a lot of
remember.
good conversations.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Taste of Mansfield was there. I think they did like a little talk and
You're
Dorothy,
right.
had stuff to say as well, but it was more a couple different introductions of programs, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So they're all blending together.
Yeah, I went to the one the year before, which was the talk about the soil. But and that was in the evening as well.
That was Brian.
Yeah.
Melissa, if we switch to a Tuesday or a Thursday, would either
Yeah.
of those work for you that week?
Yeah, Tuesday or Thursday is fine.
You guys want to try Tuesday the 7th?
And not that you need to plan around me, but I know that we're not going to have childcare for the first 2 weeks of March. And so I
Bring the
might
little
be.
farmers to the meeting. The future farmers need to come too.
So it might be a good week to avoid, but it probably doesn't matter at this stage.
Well, what about you guys do the 21st?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Just push it out.
It's right around the first day of spring, right? And then before things get too busy, and then maybe you'll have a new staff person to kind of do some of the legwork in terms of getting stuff. But in the meantime, you do need to start identifying, start getting people there and making sure that there's a venue available. So does that sound like a plan? That I can look to see, I can work with Sandy, I hope. I might need just a little prodding because it's like things just there's like a little vortex happening and it gets, so.
Does everyone like Tuesday, March 21st?
Yeah.
Fine with me.
Yeah,
Yeah, and if we need a backup, like we could use the 23rd at either of those that week.
Yes, that's true, because we did have to change it because the library was booked that far out.
Okay,
it's nice if we can get the 21st, because I feel like if people hear that date, they're gonna remember it being the first day of spring, especially farmers, so.
I don't know,
Mhm.
Maybe it'll help that
32323
people-
would be pretty memorable too.
Oh.
Okay, okay, either day works.
So let's see what's available. Does anyone feel a strong desire to take a leadership role with the Farmer Forum on March 21st or 23rd?
Hmm.
I think we should appoint our note taker.
that's me.
Perfect.
Jennifer, I will follow up with you on the Farmer Forum. If someone feels a strong desire to lead the Farmer Forum, please let me know and I will
You know, if we follow,
relinquish.
Stacy, why don't I follow up, and then maybe if you just, it would be a few emails between my intern and you, and just, she could probably use a couple of extra things to do, but it's just in the matter of keeping her moving.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
that hard.
I'll follow up with you and we'll work on it.
Okay, thanks.
And I will divvy up the list of farmers because you can all help me make phone calls because
Yeah, because it's important. It takes some real enthusiastic encouragement.
Yeah, I don't mind helping, like, contact people and stuff, but I don't know any of them. So, it's not like I have their contact info or anything, but
we'll
feel free to
share
reach
it.
out to me
Okay.
if you need help with, contacting people.
It's like calling people and reminding them to vote. It's like you gotta, it's like cold calling,
Yeah.
right?
Anything else on work plan? I do agree with Jennifer. We need to just leave this on our agenda. And I would request that, similar to the communication and outreach, before our next meeting, just think about some of those other event ideas. Chris, if you want to do another forestry walk in April, we should probably jump on that sooner rather than later. And then the other ideas, like with the farmers market or some of that, and I'll reach out to the other ag commissions and see what they're up to too, and if we want to collaborate. But think about it a little bit, come back to the next meeting with some ideas or thoughts, where we want to see this committee go. There's all sorts of possibilities, so. Anything else on that, or we'll keep going into the Taste of Mansfield update?
Just go back for a second. Who is the market master right now of the farmers market, or whatever it's called? Is it called market master?
Yes, she came to our
Erin,
farmer forum.
her email is Erin Broccoli, but that's not her name. But Erin,
That's
It's
fine.
definitely
So-
Yeah,
Erin.
I've met her.
she's great.
Yeah,
She's really nice.
I think I met her because on the town page, I was giving away something and she came to my house and I talked to her for a while and found out she lives like right down the road from me.
I'm just wondering if there's some way we can have kind of some sort of a presence at the farmers market by way of her, or maybe there's a farmer there that is willing to have our whatever brochures, maps, whatever we've got on site, on hand, and maybe it's for a little bit of a discount on their fee or whatever.
Would you be willing to reach out to Erin Broccoli, who has a real last name, and work on that for us, Chris?
Sure.
Thank you. I like the idea. I think that's awesome. That's a really
It
good
seems like
idea.
an obvious place for us to be. Not that we'll get a lot of traction, but I think I still think, again, it's an obvious place for us to be.
Yeah, and maybe ask her if she's got other ideas about how our two groups could collaborate. I mean, yes, we have Taste of Mansfield and they're a partner on it too, but we have similar goals and initiatives, and it would make sense. Anything else on the work plan? All right, Taste of Mansfield update. We'll let Jennifer go.
So just real quick, it used to be that we hired an intern through that actually Jeff Martin from Yukon Extension kind of managed. And now we are having Josh Stern, who works not no relation to you, it's STERN. And he works with Cynthia in the downtown partnership. And so he's kind of taken on all of the community outreach. He's new, he's very organized, he's good. So that's kind of good news. Margaret Chady kind of gave me a write-up. So they are drafting a work plan. It wasn't ready for prime time. So we can look at it at your next meeting. Every year they have a Taste of Mansfield Champion award, and they're about to kick that off. And so they are looking for someone from the Agriculture Committee to serve on the champion awardee committee. So they'll be sending out an email to the AgCom because it is sort of a joint agriculture committee / economic development. And last year they chose a business, Tri-County Nursery, a farm, which was Cobblestone Farm, and then an individual, which was Stephanie Deason. So they're going to kind of try to do that every year. They're working on the newsletter. Josh Stern and Margaret talk about topics weekly, and they're really trying to push it out each month. This month, they're going to try to promote honey in Eastern Connecticut and bee classes starting soon at Shook's Apiaries, maple sugaring in February. And one of the things they really want to do is they want to keep up to date with farms, new and changing farms, and making sure that the website is up to date. So we need that. Margaret said we need a critical pipeline from the Ag Committee. And Margaret did in the past like an overall ag communications kind of flow chart. And that includes like Taste of Mansfield and other things. So she wanted to have that ready for tonight, but it was not. So, and we haven't heard from the E.O. Smith students, so she'd really like to see if we could get the E.O. Smith students more involved, but she may try to pop over, her and Josh may try to pop over and just have a meeting with Lori. So that's all I have on Taste of Mansfield.
Is anyone interested in serving on that committee? You don't have to decide right now, but we do need to have somebody when they ask. And that is
It's a virtual meeting. They're meeting, I believe it's like the second Tuesday of the month. Let's see. Yeah, it's not a heavy lift. That you do have a staff person that's pretty involved, and you probably could get the staff person to do some work, a little bit of work on that for ag, like some kind of cross-pollination with the work the Ag Committee is doing. So
yeah, I was thinking the Taste of Mansfield hero judging too.
oh yeah,
That one of our, if somebody wants an easy, and yes, if anyone wants to be more involved with Taste of Mansfield, we would love to have regular dedicated committee representation on that committee. So lots of opportunities to work with them. It's a great initiative. Our town other towns want to replicate it. It's doing well. It's really a nice way to help promote agriculture. And we can co-brand things with them as well. And again, nobody needs to jump up tonight and say they want to do that, but mentioning Dominic Shook's does remind me though, that was one of the ideas that Melissa had brought forward last year, was the potential for doing a beekeeping workshop. Melissa, we could ask Dominic, or I believe you had another beekeeper. That might be something we toss out to the other ag commissions too, as a good program for us to do jointly, especially with everything going on with pollinators.
Yeah, he's my neighbor, so it's pretty easy for me to talk to him. Yeah, I mean, I talked to him. He seemed really, really interested in, doing some sort of talk or whatever last year when I talked to him about it.
Dominic is your neighbor or somebody else?
Dominic is.
Oh, okay, so.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, he's my next door neighbor. So, yeah, he has I don't know if what he's planning to do for his classes or whatever is at his place, but he does have, I want to say, he's got at least 40 hives at his house. And then I know he also has a number of other locations in the area, ranging from, Wyndham and, wherever. He has lots of other hives around. And I think he does do, informal teaching type stuff. Because I do know a few other people that are like hobby keepers that have gone to him for information.
Do you want to ask him if he'd still be interested? I mean, like a beekeeping, just like a brief overview, like he doesn't need to give away all the trade secrets. They can sign up for his regular class, but maybe that's something that we could host with the other ag commissions.
Okay, yeah, I think last year we tried to see if he would be able to do it for the March Farmers Forum, if he would be able to come and talk or whatever. But I think, Jennifer, do you remember, did I send him to you? And then I'm not sure what
Yeah,
happened.
I spoke with him and then we decided he was going to like talk about, so we decided at the Farmers Forum just to kind of, I think to just kind of introduce people and have them tell us what they were doing. And then we thought perhaps having like a workshop, maybe at the community center or some sort of like adult ed class, but it never sort of, it's always the matter of like, what are you going to charge? Are you going to charge if Parks and Rec would be, if he wanted to be like an instructor and do something on his property through Parks and Rec, it could be some sort of thing where they register and all of that stuff through Parks and Rec. But it was just, we do have a new program person over at Parks and Rec, and she's supposed to be taking on a little bit of the outdoor ed. So I can talk with her about that. But if the other ag committees want to kind of co-sponsor a workshop, that might work too. It's just a matter, again, of publicizing it, organizing it, getting people there. That does take more work than you think.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can reach out to him again and say, ask if he'd do like a little talk or whatever, if the other ag committees are interested in doing something with him. He's super into his bees. So he says he just, he loves to talk about his bees. So, doing some sort of talk, I don't think is a hardship for him, other than when he's like super busy because of the bees. But which is, I think, one of the reasons why oh no, actually he wanted it to be later. I think that was part of it, is he wanted his talk to be later in the season because he wanted the bees to be awake. And it wasn't working out for the timing for us, because we wanted it to be before people were farming.
And then I think I started working 2 jobs and it got, so yeah, I think we should, I think that sounds great. He's a very pleasant, he seems like a super nice guy.
He is a really nice guy.
Neo Smith Ag Ed alum too, got good ties to town programs and everything. Do you want to ask him, Melissa, what would be a good time frame? And then maybe if we get that information, I'll wait and talk to Kim and Melissa once we know what might work for Dominic, and see if they and the other towns would be interested in doing that with us.
Okay. Should I say something about the whole with the Parks and Rec class thing too? Or like, is that just for him to pursue on his own to be an instructor? I mean, I don't know how that works. So
If he wants to, so if he is, so basically anyone can run a program through Parks and Rec. You just sort of apply to do it. And some of them, sometimes if they charge money, you can get paid. And they're always looking for like new and innovative programs. So if he's interested, I'll try to connect him with someone over there.
all right, I'll just mention it to him and say, that we can help him get the information if he wants to do it.
All right, thank you. Anything else on Taste of Mansfield? Or any of our old business items? All right, new business, we have the agriculture leasing report forms, which I think you're all familiar. The town has these town-owned properties and they are leased to farmers. Each year, the farmers are required to submit their lease report, soil samples, etc., which are attached in your packet. And hopefully you've had a chance to review them. Jennifer, do you want to go over these at all? What kind of, I also have a conflict of interest, so I'm going to let Jennifer talk
So
about them.
So as you recall, the town has 9 properties that we lease to local farmers. We do it on a 10-year, it's basically a 5-year lease with an option to renew for another 5 years if there's been no issue. We want to give farmers a long time to have the property, so because they're investing in the land. So every year they're required to provide these lease reports. This year, again, this is one of those things where you really have to be on them. And most folks, 6 out of the 8 did not provide soil samples. So we need to be better at, like, encouraging them to get soil samples. And so they are going to drop them off. But right now, before you have all of the leases for the different properties, except for Coventry Road, which I think Brian Kilbania is sort of transitioning. I think I'm not sure if he's living in town or what, but I don't think he's doing anything with that property anymore, or he really never did. So it's just a matter of you look through them, you kind of approve them, you can make a motion or just acknowledge in the minutes stating that you did look at them. You don't see any issues. No, everyone is kind of doing the same thing that they have done in the past. So we've got Baxter on Baxter Road. That is really just, he's basically he's not even taking the hay crop off. He's just mowing perennial grass cover crops. So that's sort of an easy one. Then you've got the 3 Stearns farms that are Bone Mill Road, which is right near, it's a small property across from Tri-County Nursery. You've got Crane Hill Field, which is about 12 acres. That's in Bone Mill, Crane Hill, and Eagleville. Those are all in corn. That's nothing is changing there. And then you've got Tom Wells, and he does the Torrey Preserve. That is in hay. He's got Common Fields also in hay, and then Southworth Preserve in hay. And then you've got Bill Varga over at Mount Hope, and he's got his property in hay, and they're all staying the same this year. So I guess, one way to handle this would be for someone to move that you've reviewed and approved the 2023 agricultural leases.
Do you see any issues with any of them, Jennifer?
Well, except for that I need to hound them to get their soil samples, and it's a little annoying, but
the soil sample stuff comes up every time.
Yeah.
I understand that we're trying to protect ourselves from that, but are we being overly soil sampley, or is this part of the requirements from the town council when people lease from us?
No,
it's not
part of the
something,
requirements
it's
of the
something a farmer would normally do.
They wouldn't.
Well, I can speak to that a little bit in terms of hay production, in that it's pretty standard practice for people that are doing it properly to test for the soil first, because you need to know, if you need to fertilize, what the pH of the soil is, and all those sort of things come into a factor when you're planting crops. You want them to grow. So
but I'm sorry, is that every year they do it? Melissa?
Yes,
Or,
it
I
should
would
be.
say- I would
Yes.
say every year, if you're applying a soil amendment, you need a
Yeah.
soil sample, because you need to be applying those in accordance with that. Soil sample is not hard if you're a
it's not
farmer.
a big deal. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you
No,
just,
and then you should also be testing
Best
your
practice.
crops later too.
Yeah.
to find
we
out
also have conservation plans, and every conservation plan, we, NRCS did free conservation plans for these folks, and that's a recommended conservation practice. So
Yeah, I just
It's-
wondered if we were pushing it too hard, but thank you. Melissa's comment is good for that too.
I think a soils test is something that takes such a short amount of time to do that a lot of farmers will all of a sudden just put it off and put it off and put it off. But they should be able to get the soils test done. Yeah, everyone does them.
So I don't see any issues, and I think it would be fine for you to approve them, and we'll just keep, I've told them they need to give me the soil samples. I've told them twice as opposed to the multiple times that I normally tell them. So
Would you, would you be comfortable with us approving these contingent on providing soil samples?
yes, I would say provided that they apply their 2023 soil amendments based on the soil samples.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah. Okay. All right. Then if it's appropriate, I would move that we approve them on the condition that they apply their 2023 soil amendments based on the soil samples they have received. They will receive in the future.
I think we'll need either Alex or Melissa to second that, because I think Stacy's going to recuse herself.
And Joe just left, I saw.
All right, I'll second that. I'll second it.
To approve the 2022-2023 ag lease reports as presented, provided the lessees apply soil amendments
Appropriate to,
in accordance with the soil samples. Yeah.
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 Okay. Well, you just have to vote on that and we'll be good.
Okay, I think I guess
Yeah.
I can call for the vote. Why not? All those, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion passes. And I'm all the way down on upcoming meeting dates, so let me get back to our agenda. If anyone has questions on that, they can follow up more with Jennifer too. So our meeting schedule, our next scheduled meeting is March 14th, then we're May 9th, July 11th. If we're having a farmer forum on March 21st or 23rd, it would probably be good for us just to at least touch base for that March 14th meeting. Everyone sees in the packet, you can click on the link and jump down to that if you want. As long as everyone's okay with that meeting schedule, we just need a motion to accept it. We can change or cancel a meeting, but if we change a meeting and have a special meeting, because of freedom of information, all the policies around town meetings, if we have a special meeting, we can only talk about what's on the agenda, record it the way we do for this one. So we are allowed to do that if it comes up, and we've done it many times in the past. Any questions, concerns? Otherwise, we can make a motion. And Sandra or someone will keep sending out emails to make sure we're going to have a quorum before we'll try not to drag you all into a a meeting if we're not gonna have enough people there, but
Chris, why don't you move to adopt the meeting schedule as presented?
Okay, I so moved.
Okay,
Alex or Melissa want a second?
I can second it.
I was gonna say,
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye, since you all kind of approved
Aye.
it already. Any opposed, nay? Motion passes. All right, do we have any reports from members that haven't previously been discussed? Okay, seeing none, that's never a really robust agenda item for us, but communications. Jennifer, I'm gonna admit, I have not read all of this.
so
Dude sent, so I'll let you handle this one.
So the, for some folks, for those of you who remember, Agbotics, which is a sort of a large kind of autonomous, I guess you would want to say, greenhouse. That came in as commercial agriculture for a special permit and a wetlands license for planning and zoning, and that was back in 2021. So the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the special permit with conditions. And the way it works with any Planning and Zoning Commission is that any folks with standing can then appeal that decision. So you appeal it to Superior Court and the court looks at it. So that decision was appealed by a group of neighbors who did not agree with the Planning and Zoning Commission's decision to approve that. The Superior Court upheld the Planning and Zoning Commission's decision. And then the way that would work is that during a certain amount of time, the folks that appealed the original decision would have the opportunity to appeal the Superior Court's fact that they ruled to upheld the decision. They did not exercise that time to file that appeal. So what I'm understanding right now is that Jude Lovedoll, who lives in the neighborhood, and she was involved with this neighborhood group, just wanted to kind of refresh a number of committees, their memories of what went on with the Agbotic project. So she has presented a number of different attachments, and it's just really an FYI, and she sent it to a number of different folks in the town. So that's my summary of it.
So Jennifer, I looked those over and so forth. There's nothing we need to do in terms of reviewing that or commenting on it or anything. I mean, to me, it was a lot of very similar, if not identical, information to what we had received in the past. Some of it was.
Yeah, it seemed
The
like
water
some of
report,
it
for
was,
example,
yeah, what it was, a lot
or
of it
that
was,
I'd seen through the zoning people, for the zoning reports and so on.
yeah, it was a summary of all the testimony, of much of the testimony that was submitted for the.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And I have not. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I was just curious. So what is the status of that project now?
What I was gonna ask.
So because the special permit, the PZC's approval was upheld, the next step for anyone who received a special permit is to get a zoning permit. So we have not received a zoning permit from Mr. Preet, but he.
Do you mean a zoning permit application or?
Correct, a zoning permit application. We haven't received that, but Mr. Preet, who was the applicant, did say he intends to submit that at some point, but he did not give me.
What's the timeline for him having to do that?
There's no timeline. He can do it.
Now he's got the okay to go ahead with this,
Right.
and he can just.
Yeah, the special permit, I think, may expire if he doesn't renew it after 5 years, but he's got time.
Okay.
right, so we don't have to, no action necessary on that. And for those of us. who
Thanks for
haven't
that
read-
follow-up, though. That was a long time coming.
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer.
Sure.
So those of us who haven't read it can review all those documents. Anything else or more questions for Jennifer on that one? All right, future meetings, anything that we haven't discussed that isn't already in our old business that anyone would like to add to our old business? Or to our future meeting agendas, sorry, to new business. Gotta get that Jeopardy music going. All right, we'll take that as a no. Does somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll move we adjourn.
Okay,
I'll second it.
thank you, Melissa. Any discussion on adjourning? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed, nay? Motion passes, meeting adjourned at 8:13. Thank you all for your time and.
Thank